Hello everyone and welcome back to Tea Time Crochet. Today we're going to be making the apple portion of our cornucopia. So this is what it looks like. This is the red one. Today we're going to be making a green one, and it has a stem and the leaf, and I think it's really cute. So I want to do a green one to go because I really am trying to do different shades of colors for each fruit and vegetable. So I've already done the red one, and the things that you're going to need today are I'm going to be using green. So I just have some Red Heart Super Saver here, and this is in spring green, and it is just a worsted weight yarn number 4. Any color of yarn would work just fine, whether you want to use red or green. But since I'm going to be using this lighter green, I'm going to need a darker green for the leaf. And this is also just Red Heart Super Saver. It's just some scrap yarn I have. I have no idea what the name of it is, but it's a pretty common color that you can find in the store. So it's just a dark, kind of like, it's just a dark green. And then you're going to need some brown for the stem. And this is also Red Heart Super Saver. It's just regular brown. It doesn't particularly matter. But this is just some scraps that I had in the colors that I needed. So, the other thing that you're going to need is a 5.5 millimeter hook, a yarn needle with a large eye, a pair of scissors, and you're also going to need some fiber fill, which is also known as toy stuffing. You can get this from Walmart. It usually comes in a big bag. It's not very expensive, but you're going to need some of that. You may need a stitch marker. You may not. It's always nice just to have one just in case. So to start off with, we're just going to start off with a slip knot. And we're going to do this pretty similar to the pumpkin that we did, other than we're not going to be doing any front post double crochet. So we're going to be doing it in a tube, and then we're going to drawstring the top and the bottom. So to start off with, we're going to need a slip knot. And for my red apple, I did 26 chains. So yeah, I did 26 chains and 5 rows. I believe it was 5 rows. Yeah, 5 rows. So I'm just gonna chain until I get 26. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And just like your pumpkin, you can kind of put it in a circle, and that will give you an idea of how big around your apple is going to be. So 26 should be fine. We want our apples to be smaller than our pumpkins. So we're just going to make sure that our chain isn't twisted, and we're going to slip stitch to join into that beginning chain. So just like that. And then I'm going to do an alternative double crochet here, which is a single crochet chain 1. So my single crochet chain 1, and then I'm going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch around. So just like this. And then I'm going to just continue on until I get 1 double crochet into every stitch, and I will meet up with you when I get to my last stitch. Here's my last stitch. I'm just going to put 1 double crochet into it, and then I'm going to slip stitch to join into the chain 1 of my single crochet chain 1 here, and that completes our first round. And we're going to just repeat the next round until your apple is as big as you want it to be. I'm only going to do about 5 rows, and that's including this one. So to start the second row, we're going to just single crochet chain 1 and then put 1 double crochet in every stitch around. So this one's a really simple pattern. A huge knot there. Sorry if you can hear the cheering. We live really close to the junior high, and I think there's a soccer game or something going on over there. The soccer field is literally just a few houses down from our house, so you can kind of hear the sports that are going on over there. So this is my last stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of our single crochet chain 1, and this is what you're going to repeat until your apple gets the size that you want it to be. I'm going to do 5 rows, and that's including this row, the first row that we did, so a total of 5 rows, and then I will meet up with you when I have completed all that. Okay, I finished my 5 rows, and to kind of get an idea of what your apple or whatever else that you're making, whatever fruit you're making, I didn't mention this on my pumpkin video, but I probably should have, is you can just kind of tuck in these ends just a little bit like this, and that'll kind of give you the shape of what your apple's going to look like. keeping in mind that it's going to be stuffed and full, but it should be, you know, your average size is going to be about whatever that is. And I did 5 rows. You could do probably 6 rows if you want your apple to be a little bit bigger. I do want mine to be about this size, so I'm going to go ahead and fasten off, and I'm going to leave myself a decent sized tail so I can do my drawstring with it. And we're going to go ahead and drawstring the top first. So you're going to want to get your yarn needle and thread your yarn on it. And just like the pumpkin, we're just going to start from the inside and weave in and out of every stitch until we get back to where we started. Okay, and that's the beginning. So I'm just going to tuck my thread through here, or my yarn through here, through the center, and I'm going to turn my apple inside out. And then we're just going to tug on this string to cinch up the top of the apple, keeping in mind that you don't want to tug too hard, hard enough to break your yarn. And then once you've got it cinched, you just want to kind of, you know, look at the inside and make sure it looks nice and neat. Mine does, so I'm just going to keep that tight right there, and I'm going to just knot, put a knot in the end of my drawstring just to secure our cinch right there. And I like to just do that a couple times. And you don't really need to worry about the knot. It's going to be on the inside where the filling's at. So there's the top of our apple secure, and you can just cut that off. Okay, now you're going to need to flip your apple inside out. You just kind of want to arrange your apple the best way that you can. And now you're going to need your brown yarn. So for the stem, you only need a little bit of brown, and you just want to kind of get an idea of where you want your stem to be at. I normally just do it right up on the center of the top. So right here is where the hole is, where I cinched it shut, so I just kind of have it just slightly off to the side there. So what I do is I just choose a spot and I run my hook just underneath that and up through the hole, and I grab my yarn and I pull that through, and then I just tie the yarn on in a knot, just like that. and then I will run my hook directly where I just went, and I'll grab my working yarn and I'll bring up a loop. So just like that, and then I'll pull that tight. And then you just want to chain however many chains you would like for your stem, not counting this one that you just did. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm only going to do 4, and then I'm going to go back. We're going to work our way back down. So I'm going to put a single crochet into this, not the one that is right here, but into the second chain from the hook. I'm just going to put a single crochet in it, and then I'm going to put another one in that same spot. And that's just going to kind of round out our top of our stem a little bit. And then I'm going to put one single crochet in every one of the chains all the way back down. So just like that. And then I'm going to actually go back into that spot that we began from, and I'm just going to single crochet one last time. You're making sure that you pull all that tight. So just like that, and then you can just fasten the brown off and cut your yarn. So that is your stem, and it's already attached, so you don't have to sew it on later, which is nice. And what I like to do is I like to just take the ending yarn and the beginning yarn, or the tail, and just tie those in a little knot, just like that. And then I will thread them through my needle, and I will run them back down the center of my apple. So just like that. And that will get rid of those tails, and our stem is attached. And what you can do down here is, just to secure it, you can just take one of those tails and run it through your needle, and then run it under one of the underside stitches, and then just knot it off. And that will secure that in place. That way it's not going to move around on you. And then you can just cut those tails off. So there's our stem. Really simple. You can make it a little bit longer if you would like. I think that works just fine for the size of apple that I have. So now you're going to need, you're done with your brown yarn. All you really needed was just a little bit. And you're going to need your green yarn now. So we're going to start off with a slip knot. And you're just going to chain however many chains you want your, for the length of your leaf to be. I probably wouldn't go more than just a couple inches, because you want it to kind of be proportioned to your apple. So I normally just eyeball this and just estimate on the size I want it to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's probably, you know, the size that I want my leaf to be. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 2 more, and that's going to count as a double crochet, and we're going to start double crocheting in, we're going to start half double crocheting in the third chain from the hook. So just like that. And then in the next chain, we're going to put one half double crochet in it too. And then you should have 3 stitches left. So I'm going to put a double crochet into the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 double crochet into the next, and then I'm going to put 6 double crochet into the last stitch, and that is going to be the top of our leaf. So it's going to be nice and rounded at the top. And that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now we just want to mirror what we did on this side back down the other side. So we need 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the next, and then we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the next. Whoops. Half double, not a double. And then 1 half double crochet into that last stitch. And then we're just going to slip stitch into the beginning of this chain 2 right here. So just like that. And then you can just fasten off, and you want to leave yourself a little bit of a tail because you're going to have to sew it onto your apple. It doesn't have to be very long, it's only a couple stitches. So you just want to pull that through, and that is your leaf. Really simple. Before I sew on my leaf to my apple, I like to hide this tail that we started with. So I will just run it down like this and then back up the other side just to hide it. And then you can just trim off that little excess. So to sew on our leaf, you just want to thread your needle. You kind of want to just figure out where you want to place your leaf. It's totally up to you. I normally like to have it kind of going off to the side a little bit, just like that. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of hold it here, and we're going to run our yarn down through the top. And it's going to come out the center. And then you want to come back up through the center of the apple and catch one of those stitches right there. And we want to go down through the next stitch, just like that, and then come up through the next stitch, And then I'll do one more. So just like that. And that should be attached. You shouldn't have to worry about it too much. I like mine to stick up a little bit. You could actually have the whole end of it down, sewed down if you would like. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and flip mine inside out. And I'm just going to create a little knot to secure my leaf right there, to make sure it doesn't come undone. And then you can just trim that tail off. Okay, so that is all the 3D portions of our apple. So now comes the stuffing part. I normally just like to go ahead and hide this tail real quick before we stuff it. So I'll just run it down through the middle a couple times just to secure it. And then I'll just cut off the excess. Okay, so now you're going to need your fiber fill. Just going to need a little chunk of it. I like to just go ahead and pull mine apart. That way it's not one big, lump. Because sometimes it can be kind of knotty if you're just grabbing it in one big lump and then putting it in there. So you just want to put enough in there to fill your apple up. You don't want it to be overly stiff, and you don't want to stretch out your stitches, so you can see the fiber fill in it. You just want it to fill the empty space. And it's okay if it kind of sticks out a little bit, because when you cinch this up, you'll push all that in anyway. And then that will fill out the top a little bit better. So you're just going to need a length of yarn. So just going to thread my needle here. And we're just going to drawstring this the same way that we did the top. So back and forth through this chain that we started off with. And you want to make sure that you don't grab any of the fiber fill when you're drawstringing this, because it'll show. It'll be poking out the bottom, and we don't want that. So just weave it back and forth through every stitch, all the way around. So just like that until you get back to the beginning. See how I caught that right there and it's sticking on the outside? We don't want that. Okay, so now you just want to take your two tails and tug on them, and that will cinch up your bottom, and just kind of poke your little fiber fill back in there. And then you just want to tie a little knot in it. So I like to just cinch it as tight as I can get it, and then finish knotting it off. So just like that. So Don't worry about that not poking out. I'm going to show you how to hide that in just a second. So you just want to cut off the excess of your yarn. You want these tails to be fairly the same size. So just thread your needle, and then you want to poke this through the center right here and have it come somewhere out, you know, the top or the side, and it doesn't matter because this isn't going to show. You want to just go ahead and give that a little tug. So see, it's kind of cinching that bottom in. Just give it a little tug and snip these pieces of yarn here, and it's going to pop inside. So that won't show anymore. So here is your apple. This one is a little bit smaller than my red one, and that's simply because this yarn, the green yarn I use, is just a little bit thinner than the red is. You know how red heart kind of varies. Even though it says it's the same weight, sometimes it's not always the same exact size. But that's okay. I wanted different sizes and different shapes and colors for the fruit and vegetables in my cornucopia anyway. So this is what you should have so far. I think they're really cute, and they're going to look really, really nice in our cornucopia once we get it finished. The red that I used is just a nice bright red. I'm not even sure what the name of it was. And then I just wanted to use a green. So that's our apples. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.